What's up, guys? So today, I am going to be giving a history of one of the more popular wrestling action figure lines in recent history, and that is the WWE Mattel Retro line. So first up, we have Series 1 of the WWE Mattel Retro line. First up, we're going to get it right out of the way. The holy grail of WWE Retros is the Series 1 Roman Reigns. Now, this Roman Reigns came with the Superman punch. It's the only figure in the line that does the punch. It's very reminiscent of the Hasbro Jake the Snake. Now, this figure, the packaging came in multiple variants. As you can see, this is the Superman punch variant. So on his action, it says Superman punch. They soon realized they did not have the license for Superman, so they had to put a sticker over it that said Super Punch before they could officially just reprint all of the cards to say Super Punch. But very few got through without a sticker, and this is one of them. I actually picked this up like the week that these things came out, and it's one of the few lines in the WWE Mattel license that actually hit New Jersey first. Before we got them, before people in California were even getting them. It was very strange, but I went out immediately, picked them up when I heard word, and I got this gem right here. Next up, this came in the second wave of Series 1, but we're going to still count it, is the Undertaker. Now, this Undertaker does the tombstone. Essentially, you pick up his arms and he slams them down. This was one of the more easier to find figures in the set because it came in Wave 2, which was very, very overpopulated on the shelves, more populated than Wave 1. And it kind of replaced Roman and Kevin Owens in the case. Undertaker and Warrior. So we have the Dead Man. He's got his purple gloves, purple boot covers, purple tie. We kind of needed this for our Hasbros. We needed this figure. Next up is the Warrior himself. We probably could have done without another Warrior, especially since we already had a Green Trunks Warrior in the Hasbro line. But nonetheless, we got one. And very, very similar stance as the Undertaker. However, he does the Gorilla Press Slam where he kind of tosses an opponent laterally. Again, this one was a little bit more overpopulated the shelves. Next up, we have John Cena. Now, as you can see, I have two John Cenas here. The first one that I have is my original one that I purchased. And I didn't even realize until years later that he actually had a sticker over because there was an error that they caught before it made it to shelves. Similar to how they put a Superman punch, the Super Punch over the Superman, but this was Attitude Adjustment. Underneath the sticker, it says Adjustment. So they forgot to put the J in for adjustment. They soon fixed it and reprinted the card. So you can see, all right, this one is reprinted. This one's got the sticker. It might be hard to see on the camera, but there's a sticker over Adjustment. He has a similar action to the Ultimate Warrior where he does his Attitude Adjustment, but he throws the opponent laterally. And next up, we have the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. He does like the Hulk Hogan Series 1 Gorilla Press Slam, but it says that he does the F5 action. He's got his tattoos, his signature trunks, and his gloves on. So you can pull his arms back, put an opponent in his hands, and he will slam them down. And last, we got probably the second more difficult figure to find in this series, and that is the Kevin Owens. he does the pop-up power bomb. It doesn't look anything like a power bomb. He kind of raises his arms up and they just drop down. But I mean, the effort's there, right, guys? He's got his KO shirt. This was still based on Kevin Owens, like his debuting look, which is kind of cool because you see how far he's come in the WWE. So that is Series 1. We have Roman Reigns, The Undertaker, Ultimate Warrior, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, and Kevin Owens. And here we have Series 2. My personal favorite of the entire WWE Retro line came with Series 2. Mainly because it had all of the Attitude Era characters that I just dreamed of as a kid. I'm a Hasbro kid. 5 or 6 years later came the Attitude Era, and I wanted all these guys. I used Warlord as Stone Cold Steve Austin. I used Demolition as Mankind. I wanted these figures so badly, and I finally got them. That's why I love this line so much. First up, though, and if you remember when these first came out, they were so hard to find. Then they just flooded everywhere. They flooded Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Ross, Ollie's. Everywhere was getting them for like $3. And I remember I was hunting these down forever when they first dropped in Walmarts. But anyways, first up, we have Kane. He does the tombstone action. Lift his arms up and he slams them down. I thought this was a perfect action for when he gets in the ring and he does the fire, he lifts his arms up, drops them down. But this was probably my favorite figure from this series. I just think it just really pops the way that they did the red, and it's just a cool looking figure. Next up, we have my favorite superstar of all time, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he does his Stone Cold Stunner action, which I thought was so cool. They put a pin in the elbow so he could bend his arm up, and it looks like a stunner. However, it's just a clothesline action. But if you look past that and you can put a figure's head inside his arm here, and you can simulate your own stunner. They put one knee brace on him, his signature tights. It's a good likeness on Austin. And next we have Sting with the Stinger Splash. He's a jumper, which they soon overproduced jumpers, which I think was part of the reason that people weren't buying them as much. They weren't being as eclectic with the actions that they were giving the guys. But it looks like Sting. He's got the gloves. He's got the face paint. There are variants of these where one glove is painted, or he'll have somebody else's arm. These are just errors. I don't really consider them necessarily variants. A variant is something that is like a mass-produced change or a mass-produced error. If it's a one-off and here and there people are finding it, I don't really consider that an error. Same thing with Roman Reigns Series 1. There's ones where it's like half of his beard's painted. That's not really a variant. That's an error. And here we are with Mankind. He does the Mandible Claw, which is basically the same thing as Austin. He did bend his hand up and looks like he could give you a stunner. But if you put it out to the side, you can kind of do like a clothesline action that can simulate, I guess, a Mandible Claw. But he does have his two middle fingers wrapped up, which is really cool touch. No other figure in the line got that. I'm a big fan of exclusive parts to action figures, and that's one of them. Next up, we have the Rock Bottom on the Rock, and he does the, like I said, Series 1 Hulk Hogan Gorilla Press Slam. Put his arms back, put a figure in there, he'll slam them down. He comes with his signature tights. They did a great job on his sideburns. Even though the picture they have used doesn't have the sideburns, they put them on the figure, which I love. And last up, we have Triple H. Now, there were two action figure variants of the Triple H. The deco was different. So initially he came out, and this is the one we got in the SummerSlam purple tights, which is one of my favorite outfits that he's ever worn in history. Every time they put out a purple tights of Triple H, I have to buy it. But he's a jumper, which is kind of lame, but I get it for the pedigree. He's got his arms curled up. It could kind of simulate that, but you can't put another character's head between his legs to even make it look like a pedigree. But I digress. So the variant is they initially produced him with the H on his the crotch of his pants and the Triple H on the side of his pants. However, on the other side, they forgot to print it. So there's no Triple H printed on the left side of his tights. They later fixed it and they printed it on both sides. Now this was a mass-produced error, which is why people consider it a variant, because pretty much the first wave came with all of these Triple H's with only one pant leg with deco. And then the second wave came, they fixed it, and this is what we got. So that's Series 2. We got Kane, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Stinger, Mankind, The Rock, and Triple H. Series 3 is when Mattel decided to really cut down the size of each series and how many characters they provided in each. So they went from 6 to 4. This series was very overproduced. You could find it everywhere on clearance at Targets, Ross, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Ollie's, Five Below, GameStops. They couldn't clear these things out. They couldn't give these things away. And I think that's really what created the problem with where can we send this product and continue to produce it. And I think that's what started the slow downfall of this line. So this line features the introduction of the Mayhem app, which is a game that you could download, and you can turn over the stand that it comes with, and there's a code, you scan it, and that gives you the character in the game. So if you turn this over, scan the code, it'll give you Seth Rollins in the game. So Seth Rollins is a jumper. Again, too many jumpers in the line. He's got his gloves on, does the pedigree action just like Triple H in the previous series. We have Dean Ambrose, and he's got the dirty deeds where you lift his arms up, slams him down. Again, all of these come with a stand, but it was awkward how they would stand on it. They wouldn't stand center. It would be like off to the left if you were a jumper especially. Next up, we have the Phenomenal Forearm, which is probably the best recreation of the move in this set. So you could bend his arm up kind of like the stunner, bring it back, and clothesline, but with the elbow. And last, we have Goldberg. Goldberg comes with the spear action, which is really just a jumper. So I guess you'd have to squeeze him down, point him at a figure, and let go for him to do a spear. Makes sense, but just not. The jumpers aren't that fun to play with, which I think created another problem. This was one of the first Goldbergs that we got in the Mattel line. But as you can see, Dean comes with his hands wrapped, his white tank top. Seth comes with his redesign, rebuild, reclaim outfit. Basic AJ Styles, got the gloves, but you can't see the Phenomenal on his gloves, which, you know, it's tough because his hands are closed, but if he had an open hand, it would have been cool. And generic old Bill Goldberg. But if you look on the back, you'll notice that Goldberg originally came in his tights instead of his, like, shorts. That's what the original was planned to be when they were designing them. That's what the prototype on the back is. So yeah, Series 3 is Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, AJ Styles, and Goldberg. Series 4 brought us some new characters as well as our first repaint in the line, and the first repaint was Kevin Owens. Initially planned for this line was an Enzo Amore. Some people call it the Rhythm and Blues Greg Valentine of the retro line, because it was a figure that a lot of people wanted, and it just never came out because of his scandal and everything that happened. He got released, so we got a quickly repainted Kevin Owens due to his popularity at the time, so it made sense for them to just change up his shirt, get him out in the line, and we could push this line back out into retail. So first up, though, we have Finn Balor. He's in his demon paint with the green tongue. He does the coup de grace, which is why he's a jumper. So this kind of makes sense. You could put him on the top turnbuckle, push him down, he'll jump up onto his opponent. Again, this comes with the retro app. with the stand. You could scan it and play as Finn Balor in the game. If you look, the detail on the paint is actually pretty good. And one of the more rare figures in the retro line is the Ric Flair. He comes in his classic blue trunks, his long flowing hair, and he has an open hand that you could do his chest chops with, which is pretty cool. It's one of the main reasons that a lot of people wanted this figure. So you can see, you pull his one arm back, you could chop another figure's chest, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool action. And definitely one of my favorite figures from the line. Which leads us to one of my least favorite figures from the line, and that is Sami Zayn. I just don't really think it fits too well, but it's the first figure to give us a kick because he does the haluva kick. So you pull his leg back and it swings forward like a kick. Not really what the haluva kick is, but I mean, it's the best action you can give us with the limited playability on these style of action figures. And finally, like I was talking about, is we have the new Kevin Owens. Same action as Series 1, but a different shirt that says Fight Owens Fight. He's got his tattoo, his gloves, his signature trunks, his shorts, and he does the pop-up powerbomb where you lift up his arms and they come swinging down to hit another action figure. So that is Series 4. It features Finn Balor, Ric Flair, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. Next up, we have Series 5. Now this series, in my area at least, almost completely skipped retail, regular retail. We did not get it at Targets, we did not get it at Walmarts. However, these did pop up all over at Five Below's. Unfortunately, I paid full price for these, but then online and then found them for much cheaper at Five Below. But it's a cool line. It's mostly just the New Day and Macho Man. Well, it's not mostly, that's exactly what it is. But we do have a packaging variant on Macho. We'll get into that. But first up, we have Big E. Now, Big E has the Gorilla Press Slam from Hasbro Series 1 Hulk Hogan. Put arms back, put a figure, he could toss them. Pretty cool likeness, silly with his mouth open. He matches all of the rest of New Day on these figures, but you'll notice that their stands have different colors. Xavier Woods does the honor roll action, which is basically the attitude adjustment. Put a figure on, throws a figure laterally, and he's got his mouth open. So this one's kind of a weird scan. He's like cross-eyed, he's got his tongue out. Doesn't really look too much like Xavier to me, but I do like that they always tried to give different head scans on these. And we have another silly head scan on Kofi. He does the Trouble in Paradise. He's a jumper. They can't go a series without putting a jumper in there. And he's like almost cross-eyed with his eyes rolling in the back of his head and his tongue's out. It just doesn't really look too much like Kofi. But I think they want these figures of them to look very fun and you know, kid-friendly. I think that's what they're going for with the New Day. Now, Macho Man is the Macho Madness style, and he's got his signature headband on, his glasses, the black and white, and he does the elbow, which isn't really an elbow drop. He lifts his arms up and he drops them down. Now, there were two packaging variants on this. The first one features him with his arms down, as you can see, and the second features him with one arm up. Now, the reason that they did this has something to do with how they were packed in the cases, because you could go to Five Below, and I saw somebody unpack a case, and it had one Macho Man with the arms down and one Macho Man with one arm up. So it had something to do with how they fit in the cases to make them more suitable and more packaging friendly. So yeah, Series 5 has Big E, Xavier Woods, and Kofi Kingston of the New Day, and the Macho Man Randy Savage in his Madness getup with a packaging variant. Next up, we have Series 6, which features Shinsuke Nakamura, Bray Wyatt, Daniel Bryan, and the second release is Sting. Now, the first one up, we have Shinsuke Nakamura, and he's in his red pants. You know, they can't release a Shinsuke without red pants. He's got his armband, and he does the Kinshasa, where you pull the leg back and he kicks forward. Just basically the same kick as Sami Zayn, but a different mold. He's got his hair flipped to the side. He comes with his strong style stand. Now, this was the last series with the stands. And next up is one of my favorite figures in the line is the Bray Wyatt. I'm a big Bray Wyatt fan. Now, he features all of his tattoos at the time, his smiling face scan, his gloves, pants. I think they did a really great job on Bray. He does the same action as Kevin Owens, where you lift the arms up and he swings them down. They call it the Sister Abigail, but it's nothing like the Sister Abigail, like most of the actions on these figures. But you got to use your imagination. These are toys, right? And next up, we have the Daniel Bryan with the running knee, even though he's just a jumper and you can't hit anybody with the knee at all. And he comes in the red tights, the red boot covers, red knee pads, and the short hair sculpt, which was interesting. They used the short hair and the beard. And last, we have another jumper, so two jumpers in this set, and that's Sting. It's the exact same action figure, just painted red for Wolfpack Sting. Yeah, so he just does a Stinger Splash, same thing. You just can launch him at another figure. I wish they would have done a different mold on Sting to make it a little bit more interesting, but hindsight is 2020. Series 6, though, is Shinsuke Nakamura, Bray Wyatt, Daniel Bryan, and Sting. Next up, we have Series 7, and this is probably my least favorite series of the entire line, aside from Series 3. This did introduce, though, the return to the regular packaging, no stands that wasted money and time and raised the prices at retail. Now these came back down to a $9.99 price point from the $12.99 price point because of the stand. And it featured one of my favorite parts of the packaging is the flashback circle, which brings me back to the Hasbro days. It wasn't exactly the same, but it did its job. This line features Kurt Angle, and he does the Angle Slam. Again, very similar to the Attitude Adjustment and the Xavier Woods Honor Roll, where you put a figure on them and they can throw them to the side. We have the Chris Jericho, and he comes with the Code Breaker action, where it's basically just a stunner, a clothesline action. And he has his signature at the time, his scarf on. It's a good likeness. I actually like this head sculpt a lot. The hair is pretty cool. His beard, his mustache, and the deco on the tights is awesome. This is probably one of my favorite from this set is the Chris Jericho, just because I think they put a little bit of extra TLC into designing his figure. Next up, we have probably one of the worst head sculpts in the history of this line, and that is Shawn Michaels. It's awful. It doesn't look anything like Shawn Michaels. And you've heard every collector say this. I don't know what they were thinking with the Shawn Michaels head sculpt on this. It's almost as if they were trying very hard to make it not look like Shawn Michaels. Regardless, he does the super kick. It's a reverse kicking action from the previous two of Sami Zayn and Shinsuke, where you pull the leg forward and he'll kick backwards, which is it's a cool touch. They just twisted up the mechanism and made it a little bit more exclusive to this figure at the time. But, yeah, very interesting choice for Shawn Michaels. And finally, we have a Sheamus, and he does the regular kicking action where you pull the leg back and he kicks forward. He's got his mohawk and his beard, and he's a very, very plain figure for the most part, but he fits in the line. He's a big enough name that he deserved a retro. Interesting enough, this series did not feature any jumpers. Next up, we have Series 8, and Series 8 features Braun Strowman, Jeff Hardy, Iron Sheik, and Zack Ryder. Now, the Braun Strowman's pretty cool because he's a little bit bigger than all the other characters. He has his beard, his signature getup, but he does raise his arms and drops him down, and it's a power move for a big figure, but it looks cool on him because he is significantly bigger than the other action figures. Jeff Hardy, you can pull his leg back and he'll kick forward. He's in his purple sleeved getup. He's even got his green gauges in, which I always thought was really cool. His signature beard cut, however you want to call that, however he shapes up his beard. I don't even think they have a name for it because it's so significant to Jeff Hardy. Maybe they'll just call it the Jeff Hardy. Iron Sheik, this is one I was very excited about because it's one that I wanted as a kid. I wanted the Iron Sheik in my Hasbro collection. Now we finally have it. I just wish that he had the long pants on, not the short trunks. Regardless, he comes with the pointy boots that they used from the Xavier Woods mold, which should have been an original Iron Sheik mold first, but I mean, it came from Xavier Woods. He does the lateral throw. He's got the camel on his boots and on his tights. And I like that they use a picture. It matches what he's wearing. And last but not least, we have the Broski, Zack Ryder, aka Matt Cardona. And he comes with the fist pump action, which is basically the stunner clothesline. And which I meant in the last video. I didn't mean the jumpers. I meant the clothesline action is one that they overused, and there's quite a few coming up in the coming series of the clothesline, not the jumper. But anyways, we have Zack Ryder here. He actually sent me one when they first came out, and he signed it. Best wishes, the Zack Ryder. So I add that to my collection. I think it's a really cool story. And here we have him. It's like a classic Ryder, which is weird. And I think the face looks more like Randy Orton, in my personal opinion, if Randy Orton were to smile. Doesn't look anything like Zack to me. But he's got his woo-woo headband, his Ryder trunks, and he does his fist pump action. What else could you ask for, right? So that is Series 8. We got Braun Strowman, Jeff Hardy, Iron Sheik, and Zack Ryder. All right, next up, we have Series 9. Now, Series 9 features Samoa Joe, Randy Orton, Goldust, and Macho Man Randy Savage. Now, initially, the Samoa Joe featured red shorts instead of the green and black. It featured red and black shorts. They changed it up, and they put him with the green. I think the red is more, it's what I think of when I picture Samoa Joe, so I wish it came with the red. But regardless, he comes with the same action, basically the same body as Kevin Owens. You lift the arms up and they come crashing down. But it's a good likeness, looks just like Joe. He's got the right-handed destruction Samoa Joe shirt on. Pretty cool. But initially it was supposed to be with red shorts. So next we have Randy Orton. Awesome likeness. I think it looks just like him. He's got the stunner arm so he could do his RKO. A very playable figure as far as Randy Orton is concerned. A good likeness. I think they did his very significant beard that he has. The way it's cut and the way it goes to his face. And they did a good job capturing that in the action figure. All of his tattoos are there. I'm not sure if they're his actual tattoos for the most part, but some of them are. Like this one, I don't know what it is, but it kind of looks like a squirrel on his arm. But maybe he has a squirrel, I don't know. But yeah, pretty cool Orton. And next are my two favorites from the line, and that is Goldust. He comes with the removable wig accessory, which we were teased about at Comic-Con. He comes with his 1996 style gold suit with the silver coming down and the black outline, the silver on his boots. But he also comes in the clothesline action, like I was explaining. And it's just they do it too much. It doesn't make sense for him to have the clothesline action. But there's Goldust. It's just a cool figure. It's cool to have Goldust in the Hasbro retro family. And next up, this figure was actually supposed to be, it was originally said to be Cesaro, but Cesaro got canned, and they gave us this Macho Man, which I'm so thankful for, considering this is one of the last series. And we needed a Green Trunks Macho to just fill that void of the JCPenney catalog exclusive ring with the Green Trunks Macho and Hulk Hogan, which turned out to just be the regular orange Trunks Macho. We needed a green trunks, and they came through on that. It's an interesting head sculpt, like the other one, but you know, it works. He's got his hands taped, the green trunks with the white stars, yellow boots, but again, he does, it makes no sense. He does the clothesline action. Everybody's doing the clothesline action now. So that's Series 9. It features Samoa Joe, Randy Orton, Goldust, and the Macho Man Randy Savage. And last but not least, we have the final series of the WWE Mattel Retro line, and that is Series 10. Series 10 was bittersweet. I spent a lot of money on these because I was worried I wasn't going to find them in retail, and then Five Below just ended up getting them. Should have saved my money, but I spent quite a bit more than I should have on these initially, just because I was worried I wasn't going to get them. I knew they were getting canceled. But first up, we have Matt Hardy in his broken Matt Hardy hair and his tights, and you pull the leg back and he does a kick. It's a very basic looking Matt Hardy. He's got his smiling crazy eyes. We have the Junkyard Dog, which is another one I was like, we kind of need that for Hasbro, so it's cool. Personally, my one gripe is I wish that he had the red pants that the LJN came with, and maybe even had a chain. Instead, they put him in the white tights with the red and blue stars, kind of like his Elite figure, but beggars can't be choosers, I guess. He does the lateral throw, eyes bulging out of his head with a little smile. Next up, we have Elias, and Elias comes in his white tank, black pants, but he comes with a breakable guitar, which is really cool because his arms and his hands are sculpted very similarly to the Honky Tonk Man, so it just fits in so well on a Hasbro shelf if you have this. And it works cool. I actually unboxed these, and it's pretty cool. You could put it in his hand, raise his arm up, and slam it down, and he will break the guitar over another figure's head, which is just it's a cool action to be able to do. It's kind of like when Grapple Gear came out. It was awesome to throw a figure through a table. And last but not least, something that we really, really needed, and that is a Diesel retro figure. The Orange Card series never came out, and everybody wanted that Diesel. He was the WWF champion. You needed to have a Diesel in your Fig Fed, and now we finally got one. I may be 32, but I finally got a Diesel Hasbro retro. And yeah, he's got his glasses on, his Diesel singlet top. He's got his little mullet in the back. He's got the fringe on his pants. Hard to see right now because it's just painted black. Lift his arms up and he slams them down. Now, the one other product left in the retro line that we haven't gone over yet is the official retro ring. Now, this came out around Series 5, Series 6, and again, the distribution just wasn't there. I believe I got mine at Kmart, but I didn't see it anywhere else except for on Amazon.com. And I think that this is probably going to be one of the gems of the retro line. This is going to be something that people are after years down the road. They're going to want this now that they're gone. And Mattel's pretty good with reviving lines. I am confident that the retro line will come back eventually, and they'll do it the right way. And maybe it'll be online exclusive. Maybe it'll be ringside. Maybe they'll just do a figure here and there. Who knows? But I do have confidence that it'll come back. But here's the official retro ring box. It's very reminiscent of the Hasbro ring, which I love. They really did a great job on the ring. They did a great job on the whole line. There was just some little hiccups that could have been fixed, that could have made it a little bit more successful. But hindsight is always 20/20. Maybe if we did less clotheslines, less jumpers, 50-50 on the new guys, legends, kind of like this line. I think this layout is perfect. It caters to all fans. But so there you have it. We went over the entire WWE Mattel retro action figure line from Series 1 to Series 10. We touched on variants, we touched on errors, we even touched on some prototypes. There's a lot more prototypes. If you're interested in seeing those, you can go over to my Instagram page at Unreleased Wrestling Figs. We have an Adrian Neville, a Ryback, an Unreleased Warrior, an Unreleased Big Cass, Enzo Amore. There's quite a few others, so you can go over there and check them out. Hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram as well, and Unreleased Wrestling Figs, as I already stated. You can check out our Pro Wrestling Tees shop at prowrestlingtees.com/figheel. We got 4 or 5 designs up right now, with more coming on the way. Thank you to everybody who's already purchased. It means a lot for supporting the channel. And don't forget to check out the Unreleased Wrestling Figure Coloring Books, Volume 1, 2, and 3, as well as Color Mania, which features all 3 previous volumes in one shot for a discounted rate, and they're all available on Amazon.com. That includes Prime shipping. Hope you guys are staying safe. Hope you're staying healthy. And yeah, check out YouTube. You know, we're locked in the house. Netflix is getting old. There's tons of great content being made on YouTube. So stay home and get your YouTube on. Have a good one, guys. Peace. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at FigHeel and at Unreleased Wrestling Figs. And you can visit the merch store at Pro Wrestling Tees and check out the Unreleased Wrestling Figure Coloring Books, available now on Amazon.com, including Prime shipping.